man, I'm not gonna lie. It opened up what like they know how to bring you back in fast. And I went from the boys are back to how did I already finish 3 episodes? Like, how did we already get through this? Like, there's
because
so much
right from the start, man, that they just put their cards on the table with the little, what was it, the little flea or the little
basically Ant-Man. The gay Ant-Man, basically. Like,
and he just went places literally nobody goes. And
they know how to take it to its limit. And it's just like, man, I think the only thing that I am getting the only thing I am sort of slightly getting tired of is I have to assume people are not just balloons of meat. Like, I know we are meat bags in the sense, but man, everybody pops. Everybody pops.
Yeah, I think
it's almost
to be honest, I think
it doesn't exist.
And their blood is very black. Their blood is not bright red. It's actually quite a black. And I think that kind of takes. I think that's there to make it comical. I think there's definitely a comical effect to that. But we saw that incredible start with the termite just jumping up that.
The man sneezed and blew the.
And then of course Butcher comes in and catches him in cocaine. When he tries to get up Thingo's ass. It was just. I did watch a reaction video to that. You know, the reaction videos they have. And that is one of the best reaction videos ever. People are just either crying, hiding under the couch, or laughing their heads off. The boys leaves no place for being neutral. It gives no place. No. You will feel something, whether it be horror or laughter. That show will make you feel something. And but at the same time, and then of course you've got all the other stuff that just horrifies you at points, like the suicide girl. That was like,
the Homelander.
That was
terrible. We continue to grow into this dynamic of Homelander trying to find his space again, and the descent into whatever the crack is trying to be, because like I don't know, like I guess when it comes to Homelander, I never realized how much I don't get used to how terrifying he always is, regardless of whatever his mood is. Like, I thought it would be something that I would eventually be like, okay, yeah, Homelander is always going to be like on the edge. But it's like, it is a consistently tense situation to be around it. And even whenever Gus's character, the Vought CEO. Like,
I know
even with him, I'm still trying to figure out exactly, because I think they referenced it in season 2, but I still don't remember. Why is it that Homelander is incapable of killing him? Like, there is something that stops him from killing that guy. And that is, I mean, it's great, but it's just like, I always get this tension, like something's gonna break, and if that breaks, then Homelander is let loose on the world. Even if
he's talked about now he's verbalizing it, right? Because I found it fascinating. I went back and particularly watched the scene with him and
Star
Butcher, where he turns up to his house, because that in previous seasons they meet only at the end or maybe at midway, but this time there's a cup they share. He doesn't have a cup of tea, but they kind of have a cup of tea. And it's an incredibly candid conversation about, you want to kill me, I want to kill you. To which Billy just says, well, why don't you just do it, right? Remember, it's so fascinating, that one line in the first season when they meet, and Homelander says, you're the only person whose heartbeat stays the same when they're around me. You truly are not scared of me. And he is like, that's what brings these two together, right? Is that they're scared of, both of them share no fear. Obviously Homelander because there's nothing that can defeat him, but Butcher because he's just psychopath, right? So and he proves it again, you know, when he kills that gun-toting Hawkeye type character.
I'm trying to
In
think,
cold blood.
Oh no, man, hold on. Finish your point, and then I want to talk about that scene. But finish up your point first.
Yeah. So the thing is, those two sit down and have a discussion, and there's two places where Homeland does this in the first 3 episodes. He basically says, "You and me, we're sick of being controlled. We're sick of being manipulated by our superiors." He's talking about Vought, and he's obviously talking about all the hierarchy with Mallory and all that stuff.
The CIA, whatever people that they're working with.
Why don't we just go scorched earth in a battle to the end, like a la Godzilla versus, King Kong, and just flatten this place? To which Butcher is just like, And I thought, holy crap, that they've just put out there one of the biggest fan theories of the show, how it's going to end. Like they've just, which says to me, they're not going to do that. If you put it out there, you're not going to do it. And then he says basically another fan theory when he says to Starlight, "I'm going to destroy this branch of government, then I'm going to laser force and destroy that government, and then
destroy all of New York."
Which is what I think pretty much happens in the comics.
Yeah.
I think and so already we've seen two big fan theories just put straight up front. Just put it, and then you think, well, then what are the writers doing here? Are they saying to us one of these two is going to happen, none of these two will happen, or they're both going to happen? Why are they just throwing that in our faces? Homelander is clearly seeing an end game here. Like that's
right.
Those two conversations say, but mind you, that's before he does that big speech on that show where he finally he
just breaks and is like, "I'm not apologizing. I'm better than everybody." Yeah.
Yeah, which I knew everyone was going to love that. That was so Trump, right? That was so Donald, unashamedly unshameable. And and I knew that was going to happen. And so, but he stands there naked in front of that chick, and he just doesn't care anymore. He's happy. He says, "You show the video. I don't care anymore." He's back on top of the old beam. And so, I mean, it's an interesting place now where he is. And now of course, what he doesn't know now, I guess, is that Thingo has the Compound V.
Right. Compound 24. Compound 24.
Compound 24. Which is now you're going to mention, which he has already used and kills. I don't know whoever that character is.
So basically, that guy is like the equivalent of the Punisher, in a sense. He's like he's more radicalized Punisher. But that was like in that scene where he was just like, after Huey finds out that old girl had the powers, which now I'm glad they explained that one out as well too, because I was gonna say, if the way they left it off in season 2, she was way overpowered. It was basically in the presence of like, yo, as long as she's in a vicinity of the person, she can pop any head. But then whenever she fought the guy who kept calling her Nora, calling her Nora,
Nadia,
her real
Nadia,
not Nadia,
no, Nadia,
when she kept calling her Nadia, and they were fighting, and the reality is it's only focused on where she's looking at ish, and as long
that was theorized. That was theorized at the end of last season. If you watch the court scene, she's looking around, and then that last when he blows up the church guy's head.
Right, exactly.
So I'm glad they kind of showed the dynamics there as well. Just because.
But they also showed another factor. It's not even just her looking. It's her. It's almost like she can't see into darkness, because if you're putting your hand on somebody's eyes like that, you can still open your eyes, and technically it should blow up his fingers. Right. But it didn't. Closing. It wasn't until like it fell off, and then boom, you have the pop. In pieces.
And interesting, she too, a bit like Homelander and the doctor or the scientist who can kind of control him. She has a daughter type relationship with Gus,
Yes.
from Vought as well. So that's interesting to see that one play out and where that's going to go now.
Right.
Good old,
Which I did
good old Huey.
allows Butcher to be like, all right, now I can go scorched earth on Soups again. And what happened with
he just now let's talk about poor old Mother's Milk. You know your life is treating you crappy when you have a pretty decent, tidy wife, good-looking wife like he does, and you lose her to someone that looks like her new man. That is the worst.
I'm not even going to go on his looks. I'm going to go on the fact that he's a super dick rider. Like, he's like the level of dick riding of Homelander. Like, he is the equivalent of, I always say, is if whenever there's that interracial relationship where the wife or the girlfriend is black and the guy is white, but he is a super Trump supporter and was also there for January 6th. Like, that's what I felt like that boyfriend was. Like, yo, why are you dick riding so hard? Like, this doesn't even make any sense. Like, why you?
I can see, buddy. Can you imagine if your girlfriend left you, your wife,
oh my goodness,
your woman left you, and then said, "I'm going to hook up with this guy." You just go, that's a. Let's pull that knife out of your heart, like not out of your heart, but out. It's not even an emotional thing. It's like I'm that much of a loser. Like I really am. Lesser than
what actually hurts the most is whenever his daughter seems to be more attentive to that guy than she is to you, and that's where the pain really comes in. I can lose the wife. You're gonna take my kid? You're gonna indoctrinate my kid? Man, we're gonna fight.
So no wonder he says he looks at this family. He says, "I could spend my life trying to win this guy, or I could go get after Soldier Boy." You can understand why he says, "Time to go get Soldier Boy," because he's got some. I could try to remember. He does a big dialogue early in the season 1 about how his family got killed, or his father got killed by Soups.
Right, by Soldier Boy.
I don't think he says Soldier Boy, but obviously there's Soldier Boy. So.
He said straight up, Soldier Boy killed my family.
But right at the start of the first season 1 when he did that.
Oh no,
yeah, because I know he says it now, but that's good. I mean, that's good. And then you've got so he's looking for revenge, and I'm curious to see now Soldier Boy comes up.
I loved what they did with going back in time because they kind of created a few more dynamics. Number one, the Black Noir character. Like,
yes.
That was a huge reveal to me because I know they spoke about it in the previous season, but the comics had always presented it as that was a Homelander clone that just did not go all the way. Homelander. So to get Black Noir being the black guy, which now makes me kind of also wonder at the same time, was Mother's Milk's family possibly in that element as well too, you know? And so like it now created some different dynamic questions that I had in that. And then of course I just love to look what they did. Like again, every soup is a psychopath. Clearly, every soup is a psychopath.
And Black Noir in the modern day is no different. But something's obviously happened, but we see him get blown away in that flashback. Obviously, they've done something. The fact that was 1970 something.
Right.
If he would be, if he was 25 when that he would now be
in his 70s,
70s and 80s. So he's maintained his ferocity and his agility and all this. He's kind of like on the Stormfront. He's maintained his age.
Right.
And he doesn't talk anymore like he used to then.
Which I think they allude to whenever they show the side of his head being completely burnt and have like the brain.
Well, he survives an explosion in I think season 1, the opening scene season 1 when he goes to those terrorists, but he survives an explosion. So he's obviously something's going on with him, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he's still there to. Well, have you seen the What If version of The Boys? What's it called? Diabolical.
Oh, that eight episode dealie? No, not yet. I need to sit back and look at it.
Yeah. So the the school that Victoria Newman comes from, the ones that rejected soups, that gets mentioned in that. I went, oh, that's okay. But it's a bit like What If. It's just kind of alluded to, introduce you to the concept.
Right.
So it doesn't really
give you anything, but at least it drops some seedlings around.
But the last cartoon story has Noir meeting Homelander for the first time, and I've got a feeling that's canon. It felt and looked very much like canon. So if you don't watch anything, find that last one.
Okay,
it's very interesting. So yeah, I mean, the flashback gave us Noir. That took me by surprise. I didn't think we were going to get something. It just there he is,
just so blatant,
yeah. But we see finally get to see Soldier Boy. He's kind of the big one. Everyone's pumped about seeing for this season. What's his name?
And of course,
Jensen,
wait, the actor? Jensen Ackles.
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles, aka the Red Hood, aka dude from Jason Ackles, not Jensen. Jason Ackles, and aka the Red Hood, aka Supernatural, aka at one point a.
So he's obviously he is going to. They think he's dead and he's got killed by a soup weapon, but we all know that that's not the case. We all know he's still alive.
Right.
They're going to drag him out, and he's going to confront this Homelander's newfound energy and his newfound confidence is about to come up against a rival. And I can't imagine Soldier Boy being any direct physical threat to Homelander. I can't imagine.
I think what we're gonna get is because we always have to recognize that they tend to do the opposite side of what we've seen from typical hero movies, and I think they're gonna do something that references back to whenever Captain America became a Nazi in the comics for a bit when he got brainwashed. I think we're gonna get that with the Russians in this because they said that the Russians took his body, which
he might be like Winter Soldier.
Right, which is what I was going to allude to. Was is going to get. I don't know if it's going to be that he's going to have been brainwashed by the Russians or that he was always working for the Russians and they just took him out in that situation. So they just used the idea of that Wasp guy flying up in the air as the reference as to how the enemy found them. But in reality, Soldier Boy probably put him up to it and then escaped onto the plane. And theory time. Right. Theory time. But yeah, I think that's where it goes because even his interaction with what's her name, the government agent chick, which I loved, and they keep showing that clip of just how well that was acted. What we've gone from Moon Knight to this when you talk about pure facial expression of words. And I've loved this so much recently because it shows that this does far more than what we vocalize. I mean, we always know that actions literally speak louder than words, but it's been so great in the facial. And when he's talking to her and trying to hold back from the insolence that this woman dares to have on him, the audacity to talk back.
So I have to give some great casting there. Young Mallory is
so good.
It's just
it
looks
exactly like what it would make sense for her to be if she was.
And her attitude and her actions. That's man, whoever cast that casting director needs a little bit of a medal for that because that's
facts.
That was
facts.
That was pretty good.
Even young Gus.
Yes. But before we move on, because we do have to move on, let's spend a moment of time and reflection mourning the death of that poor octopus. What was his name?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I know we need to move on. But tell me that wasn't one of the most hard. How did that feel like? Not just cannibalism, but oh my goodness. That was just evil. That was just evil, especially after he just had sex, watching him too.
That was terrible. And it showed the fact that Homelander brought all this stuff out. It showed that when he's on top, he is just a cruel monster, and that's why he is so scary. He is a psychopath who plays with people without any
thoughts or feelings or anything.
And then let's not forget the Stormfront hand jobs.
Yeah,
like he goes to this woman. Not that we have any compassion for her at all.
Her one hand. Her one good hand that's still fried.
And that's that's the boys.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe!
Double die or die.